5. The Quran also states that this worldly life is a preparation for the eternal life after death. But those who deny it become slaves of their passions and desires, making fun of virtuous and God-conscious persons. Such persons realize their folly only at the time of their death and wish to be given a further chance in the world, but in vain. Their miserable state at the time of death, and the horror of the day of judgment, and the eternal bliss guaranteed to the sincere believers are very clearly and beautifully mentioned in the following verses of the Quran. For such is the state of the disbelievers, until, when death comes to one of them, he says, "My Lord, send me back that I might do righteousness in that which I left behind, i.e. in that which I neglected." No. It is only a word he is saying, and behind them is a barrier until the day they are resurrected. So when the horn is blown, no relationship will there be among them that day, nor will they ask about one another. And those whose scales are heavy with good deeds, it is they who are the successful. But those whose scales are light, those are the ones who have lost their souls, being in hell, abiding eternally. The fire will sear their 7 faces, and they therein will have taut smiles, i.e. their lips having been contracted by scorching until the teeth are exposed. Quran 23-99-104. The belief in life after death not only guarantees success in the hereafter but makes this world full of peace and happiness by making individuals most responsible and dutiful in their activities. 6. Think of the people of Arabia before the arrival of the Prophet Muhammad. Gambling, wine, tribal feuds, plundering and murdering were their main traits when they had no belief in life after death. But as soon as they accepted the belief in the one God and life after death, they became the most disciplined nation of the world. They gave up their vices, helped each other in hours of need, and settled all their disputes on the basis of justice and equality. Similarly, the denial of life after death has its consequences not only in the hereafter but also in this world. When a nation as a whole denies it, all kinds of evils and corruption become rampant in that society and ultimately it is destroyed. The Quran mentions the terrible end of Ad, Thamud and the Pharaoh in some detail. The tribes of Thamud and Ad denied the striking calamity, i.e. the resurrection. So as for Thamud, they were destroyed by the overpowering blast. And as for Ad, they were destroyed by a screaming, violent wind which he, i.e. God, imposed upon them for 7 nights and 8 days in succession, so you would see the people therein fallen as if they were hollow trunks of palm trees. Then do you see of them any remains? And there came Pharaoh and those before him and the overturned cities, i.e. those to which Lot was sent, with sin. And they disobeyed the messenger of their Lord, so he seized them with a seizure exceeding in severity. Indeed, when the water overflowed, we carried you, i.e. your ancestors, in the sailing ship, i.e. which was constructed by Noah, that we might make it for you a reminder and that a conscious ear would be conscious of it. Quran 69-4-12. 7. Events of the Day of Judgment. God states in the Quran about the events of the Day of Judgment. Then when the horn is blown with one blast, and the earth and the mountains are lifted and leveled with one blow, i.e. stroke, then on that day, the occurrence, i.e. resurrection, will occur, and the heaven will split open, for that day it is infirm, i.e. weak, enfeebled and unstable. And the angels are at its edges. And there will bear the throne of your Lord above them, that day, 8 of them. That day, you will be exhibited, for judgment, not hidden among you as anything concealed, i.e. any person or any secret you might attempt to conceal. So as for he who is given his record in his right hand, he will say, "Here, read my record. Indeed, I was certain that I would be meeting my account." So he will be in a pleasant life, in an elevated garden, its fruit to be picked hanging near. They will be told, "Eat and drink in satisfaction for what you put forth," i.e. literally, advanced in anticipation of reward in the hereafter, in the days past. But as for he who is given his record in his left hand, he will say, "Oh, I wish I had not been given my record, and had not known what is my account. I wish it, i.e. my death, had been the decisive one, i.e. ending life rather than being the gateway to eternal life. My wealth has not availed me. Gone from me is my authority. God will say, seize him and shackle him. Then into hellfire drive him. Then into a chain whose length is 70 cubits insert him. Indeed, he did not use to believe in God, the Most Great. Quran, 69-13-33. 8. The Prophet Muhammad taught that three things continue to benefit a believing person even after death: charity which he had given, which continues to benefit others, beneficial knowledge which he had left behind, i.e. authored or taught, and supplication on his behalf by a righteous child, narrated by Sahih Muslim. Thus, there are very convincing reasons to believe in life after death. 1. All the prophets of God have called their people to believe in it. 2. Whenever a human society is built on the basis of this belief, it has been the most ideal and peaceful society, free of social and moral evils. 3. History bears witness that whenever this belief is rejected collectively by a group of people in spite of the repeated warning of the Prophet, the group as a whole has been punished by God even in this world. 4. Moral, aesthetic and rational faculties of man endorse the possibility of the life after death. 5. God's attributes of justice and mercy have no meaning if there is no life after death.